Have you heard any of this before? We preschool teachers are busy meeting state mandates, licensing standards, completing care forms and IEPs and assessments, making sure that all the art materials are prepped, centers are new and rotated, planning everything. We don't have time to learn something new like nature based teaching. Or maybe, yeah, nature based teaching sounds good, but I don't have any access to nature. Or, yeah, okay. I mean, I would get outside, except, it's raining or it's cold or it's hot, and children can't learn anything in those conditions. Maybe you've said this before. Maybe you've just thought it. Or maybe you know that that's not the case, but you've heard it from a fellow teacher, you've heard it from an administrator, you've heard it from a parent. I'm Nicole Trevillis Frabel, and this is Wildwood Teaching. And today we are myth busting. I am going to show you how we counter those ideas, and we can have nature based teaching and we can teach outside. Please excuse the little sexy, I think, rasp in my voice. I am hopefully recuperating from COVID right now, but pressing on anyway. So, we're going to cover those three basic myths about teaching outside, that it takes more time, that you need some sort of special nature to do it, and that it can only happen when the weather is perfect. So let's do number one. And I am going to say you can teach outside without spending a lot of time learning new procedures. And many preschool teachers are hesitant to take their classes outside for learning because they think that doing so requires a lot of time to master a brand new way of teaching. I get it. I mean, we teachers are pulled in so many different directions, and something new and extra is always being added to our plates. Our time is precious, and we don't want to spend it constantly reinventing the wheel. But the truth is, good teaching is good teaching, no matter the setting. So just like a team can play volleyball indoors and outdoors, and the rules of the game don't change, right? The teamwork doesn't change. A spike is still a spike. What makes a good set still makes a good set. You don't have to make a wholesale change of your teaching methods to teach preschool outside. Hallmarks of good preschool teaching are that children are offered hands-on opportunities to explore and engage their senses, which is easy to do no matter what you're setting. In fact, it might be easier to do outside where nature presents an engaging sensory environment that teachers don't need to take time to set up. So by avoiding teaching outside, you are actually passing up this magnificent time-saving opportunity because you don't have to prep and curate the environment as you would in indoor space. The inspiration and motivation for learning are built into the butterflies and the clouds and the trees and the grass. So you can take your class outside with minimal prep. Just take that first step by asking children to use their senses to observe, and then use those observations as springboard for further investigations. So grab your chance at this time-saving teaching method by trying it tomorrow. Take something, anything that you are already doing in your school day, and just take it outside. No changes, no extra prep or planning. Just take whatever you were going to do, reading a story, doing a science experiment, playing a math game, and just bring it outside. See what happens. Number two, I need special access to nature. Well, I'm here to tell you that you can use nature based teaching even if you only have access to the concrete jungle. And so oftentimes people marvel at the things that I'm able to do with the preschoolers in the forest, at our creek, outside under a tree. But then they quickly counter with, well, outdoor teaching won't work for me because I don't have access to nature. My schoolyard is a bunch of concrete. We're in an urban area. I only have access to an open field. And I get it, right? We're used to thinking of nature as something we go to. Right, we drive in a car to take a hike. We hike a long way to get to that special waterfall. But does this really mean that no one who lives in the city has access to nature? What about the air, the sky, the clouds? Nature is always surrounding you. What about the weather? Does it rain in the city? Does the sun create shadows? These are things that are ripe for exploration. What about public parks and playgrounds? I mean, even in one of the biggest concrete jungles of them all, right? New York City, there's access to Central Park, Bryant Park, the High Line. I think Penny Whitehouse, zookeeper, environmental educator, and she's the author of The Muddy Kitchen, says it quite poetically. And I'm going to read her quote. Encourage your kids to look for nature wherever they go. It's the weed breaking through the pavement. It's the leaves forming small clumps alongside of the road. It's sky at any given time of the day or night. It's the wind doing what it likes to your hair. Look around. It won't take long to find it. Everyone has access to nature. And finding this connection is the key to inspiring and motivating children's learning. So connect children to the wonder of a dandelion growing in a crack, the birds resting on a power line, the wonder of how their bodies move through space, and unleash a curiosity that leads to easy teachable moments with possible extensions throughout your standard curriculum, to math, to science, to emergent literacy, to art, more. So you can continue to believe that you don't have access to nature, or you can work with me or your fellow teachers or your own thoughts to identify the nature that you do have. Right? All right. Number three, the weather. It's the biggie. You say, okay, Nicole, you've convinced me that I can teach outside without learning something brand new, that I can find nature no matter what is near my school. But man, I still got weather, right? So, does the weather need to be perfect for children to learn something by going outside? You know the benefits of bringing children outside. You bring them outside in the late spring to enjoy the fresh air and observe life cycles as baby plants and animals start to grow. Maybe you do some leaf art in the early fall, but when it's too hot, too cold, too rainy, there's no way that you can expect children to weather the inclement weather. And you certainly can't teach anything meaningful under these conditions. But knowing that nature provides benefits to children's growth and development while going outside only when the weather is perfect is like knowing that gathering for a family meal is important, but only eating at dinner when conditions are perfect. You can pack a picnic on a cloudy day and still enjoy family time together. You can have breakfast before work, before school with only one of your children and still foster a meaningful connection with them. So when you wait for everything to be perfect, it might never be perfect, and then you're missing out on the benefits. And I have definitely been there. When I first started my nature preschool journey, We aimed for an even split between indoor time, like half of our day inside and half of our day outside. But if I'm being honest, some days when it was too rainy, when it was too cold, I found excuses to extend that indoor time and get outside later. However, the truth is that you can take children outside in inclement weather with the right preparation, right? The right gear and the right attitude. And now that I teach outside exclusively, I have learned to use the weather as a teaching tool for problem solving and resiliency, of course, but also for science experiments, art processes, and more. So, do you want to continue making excuses for why you can't do something that has proven benefits for children? And by extension, making it easier for their teachers? Or do you want to learn how to get children outside in all types of weather, in all types of circumstances for creative, nature based activities? And so, if you are ready to take that next step, or to convince a fellow teacher or administrator or parent, then I invite you to join me this coming Saturday for a webinar on responsive nature based teaching. We will go over a flexible, easy routine that you can implement tomorrow easily with no prep, no planning, and to get those children learning from nature, ideally outside, but it can also be used inside. There will be a little button above my head. There should be a link below this video. So I invite you to join me for this free webinar. And then join me here next week for another episode of Wildwood Teaching, where I will be talking about really how important the job of a preschool teacher is as we head into this next school year. I'll see you there.